Today's topic will be very interesting. Like we say, boss is boss. Boss is always correct. Even if he is wrong, we have to say that boss is always correct because boss can never be wrong. This is a age-old statement that I have been hearing since I have entered into the professional world, that you have to keep someone in your baggage, right, to support you, or your prosperity or your growth depends on his approval, his thinking, or his validation, right? You can describe any kind of adjectives associated with it, but boss is always the correct answer. Today's episode, my friend, is little personal in the sense that I have completed 10 years of my professional service, and I have been to multiple jobs across multiple sectors. And yes, it was multiple encounters with my bosses and certain situations which have really given me some very good life lessons, which helped me in becoming a better version of myself, as I always say in my podcast. Of course, we all are work in progress and one can never be perfect. One will never be perfect. So in this episode, it is totally impromptu episode. There is no preparation. It's all about reflecting myself on my 10 years of professional services, and I will be sharing some of the life lessons that I have learned from my previous bosses, including my current boss, and how I have internalized them into my professional life for my career growth and improvement. Hello everyone, how are you all? This is your host Debottam, today a friend, and you are listening to Better You, Better Life, a self-improvement SIP podcast, season 1, episode number 46. The journey has reached to this 46th episode, then I thought, why not? Let it make it little bit more reflective. I joined professional world in the year 2012. I got graduated in the year 2011 in the field of engineering, and then my first job, it was nothing less than that of a nightmare. Without any experience, without any kind of professional understanding, I was pushed into a world of uncertainties where unless you are strong or unless you are smart, you will be overthrown every day. It's like just pardon me for my language, but it's like sexual harassment every day. You will have. It will be done by your seniors, it will be done by your experienced colleague, it will be done by your boss, in order to show that they are superior than you. Your talent will never be valued. And another thing is that whatever education we have taken in our formal years of education of college degrees or whatever bullshit we have been taught, nothing is going to be useful. It's all about your life skills that is going to save you and that will help you in your growth in your professional journey. So the first life lesson which I got to know from my boss is that collecting mobile phone numbers, collecting contact numbers, that is the first rule of management. See, I was in a plantation company initially, and I had to deal with 700 or 800 workers at a time in one single shift, and it is almost impossible to remember all of their names and all of their designations by heart. And you need all of them, right? Because whenever you are working in an fast moving consumer goods industry, FMCG industry, you have to have all of them in a cluster or in a factory or in an area or in your jurisdiction or under your supervision. So the first thing is because I was naive at that time. So I was told to go to visit Mr. X, to visit Mr. Y for this reason, for you have to bring those production report, everything, and manually this task looked like to me like a humongous physical exertion. So the basic lesson for me was collecting phone numbers. They are working phone numbers, and these days people have multiple phone numbers, so you have to have all their contact numbers in your mobile directory. Whether you use it or not, it is up to you or based on your usefulness, but you have to have their WhatsApp number or you have to have their telephone number. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is that you have to report to your boss every day, no matter how much boring it can be, no matter how much disliking it can be from both the ends, or he might not like to see your face at the end of the day, but just go and be present in front of him and brief him, even if he doesn't want to know what is going on behind his back, but still you brief him what you exactly did. And it is very important because this fosters relationship between both of you. It helps in understanding way of working to each other, and that is the biggest mistake that I did during my initial years of escaping my bosses. Of course, I was scared, I was inexperienced, and I didn't know the rules of the organization that well, and it became very, very important for me to ensure that I don't show him my face by end of the day, because who knows, at midnight he will assign me some kind of work and later he will say that you do this and present this report tomorrow early morning. So I used to fear work a lot, and that is the reason I avoided. But if you show him your face every day and you brief him what you did the entire day, then this will help him in cooling his nerves. He will not exploit you, and also you will be in the clarity that what you have to do, because while briefing him there might be possibility that you might have done some kind of mistake, some kind of error, or you might have overlooked any minute detail in your production duties. So he will rectify you. That is the best way to get feedback. So number 1, collect all your mobile phone numbers of all your colleagues, subordinates and seniors. Of course, you need not to call them or you need not to send them good morning or good evening messages, but having phone numbers is of paramount importance. Secondly, brief your boss every day about your duty at the start of the day or by the day ends when you start leaving for your room. Make it a practice. It has helped me in gaining clarity, and I have become more productive, and I escaped exploitation in many ways. Okay, moving on to my second job. The third life lesson which I got from my boss is that you have to tell him the very first. Now what do I mean by this? Suppose you realize that you have made a big communication error, or you realized that you had a bitter argument with one of your colleague, or you might realize that you were thinking something but you have done something else, and that can cost the organization financially. So you are liable for any kind of penalty. In order to safeguard yourself, always brief your boss first. It's not about your colleague or your well-wishers. Nobody will be there in the battlefield when actual trial starts. It will be only your boss who will protect you, or he will destroy you. But that is the bet you have to take. But instead of your boss learning about your mistake from any third person, it is always good that you narrate your version to your boss at the very first time. My dear friends, as this episode was getting longer and longer while recording, and since I'm sharing something, my personal life experiences about various lessons that I have got from my previous jobs, so it is essential that I should present them in a contextual way. While presentation, I also need to tell all of you that how I got those lessons. A brief background has to be shared with all of you. So there is lot of content following this episode, so I thought let's put up a break here, and we will try to make this episode as a 2-part episode series. So here I have shared my 2 life lessons. First is having contact numbers of all the management staffs and employees, and secondly, you have to brief your boss every day, whether at the start of the day or at the end of the day by the time you start leaving your office. This will help maintaining a healthy relationship between your boss and yourself. We will continue and we will summarize all these life lessons in our subsequent episode, and we will conclude here. I hope you found this sub-part episode helpful for you, and in the next episode we will continue discussing about those life lessons in order to become better version of yourself. Till then, enjoy your week. This is your host Debottam signing off.